By the early 1980s, American agriculture was in trouble. Interest rates climbed towards 20%. Land values collapsed. Farm auctions became part of the weekly routine across the Midwest. And for one of the most recognizable names in agricultural history, time had run out. Hello, I'm Ryan. Welcome to Legendary Tractors. International Harvester had spent heavily during the late 1970s developing an entirely new generation of machinery. According to former IH engineers, the company invested more money into new technology between 1978 and 1981 than at any point in its history. The tractors were modern. The engineering was advanced. International Harvester's technology looked promising for the future. But the farm economy collapsed before Harvester could fully recover. And then, in 1984, the unthinkable happened. The International Harvester sold its agricultural division to Tenneco, parent company of J.I. Case. For farmers loyal to red paint, it felt like the end of the world. Ironically, International Harvester may have been closest to building its best tractors just as the company itself was falling apart. The new 50 series tractors, the 5088, 5288, and 5488, represented a major leap forward for IH. They featured synchronized transmissions, improved operator comfort, modern hydraulics, and aggressive angular styling that looked unlike anything else on the market. These tractors weren't designed merely to compete. They were designed to drag International Harvester into the future. IH advertising emphasized productivity during difficult economic times. The brochure talked about squeezing more work from every gallon of fuel. And more efficiency from every hour in the field. The message was clear. Modern farming demanded modern tractors. But while IH engineers were building advanced machinery, the company's financial condition continued to deteriorate. Meanwhile, over in Racine, Wisconsin, J.I. Case was fighting its own horsepower war. Their answer came in the form of the 90 series tractors. Machines like the Case 2590 represented a completely different philosophy of tractor horsepower. Case called it rapid farming. Instead of crawling across the field with oversized implements, Case argued farmers should pull existing equipment faster using more horsepower. The company claimed this approach improved efficiency while reducing driveline stress. Then along came the Case 94 series tractors, which also introduced new cabs, electronic instrumentation, advanced power shift transmissions, and modern styling. In many ways, both IH and Case were heading towards the same destination. They just didn't know they'd soon arrive there together. Dear IH dealer, International Harvester is announcing today that we have agreed to sell our North American and European agricultural equipment operations to Tenneco Incorporated, the parent company of J.I. Case. Except for the Farmall and Memphis plants, the agricultural equipment operations and worldwide dealer distribution organizations will be merged into Case after government approval, which is expected in a minimum of 60 to 90 days. I know this news will be difficult for many of you to accept, but we had to come to the hard decision. This action is the only way we can preserve the manufacturing, sales, and service organization on which you depend. When Tenneco purchased International Harvester's agricultural division in 1984, nobody really knew what the new company would become, and frankly, many people hated the idea. IH loyalists viewed Case as outsiders. Case loyalists resented the dominance of the harvester dealer network. According to former engineers, the company became divided into two camps, us and them. Even the dealers worried. When told that Dr. Glenn W. Cayley, the former head of IH's agricultural division, was part of the merged team, one longtime IH dealer famously remarked, "My concern is that his blood is Case Orange now, while ours is Harvester Red." And during those early years, the company desperately needed something to unify everybody. What they needed was a new tractor. Building an all new tractor takes time, and farmers still needed machines to buy. So Case IH entered an awkward transitional period. Most of the American International models disappeared almost immediately. In addition to the 3088 and 5088 series tractors, the Radical 2 Plus 2 tractors, nicknamed Snoopies by some farmers and Anteaters by many others, were pushed aside. In their place came the Case 94 series tractors. Case machines. These tractors became controversial almost instantly. Red loyalists hated them. Some Case loyalists hated them too. The 3394 became what one writer later called the red hooded stepchild. But behind the scenes, something much bigger was happening. Even before the merger dust had settled, IH engineers had already had ideas for a next generation tractor, and surprisingly, technical leadership decided to fund it. Former IH engineering chief Dr. Glenn Cayley told executives they already had transmission concepts, cab designs, and advanced engineering ideas waiting to be finished. Tenneco approved roughly $40 million to finish development, and with that, the final IH tractor project became the first true Case IH tractor, the Magnum. Interestingly, the Magnum wasn't purely an IH tractor, and it wasn't purely a Case tractor either. It became a carefully assembled combination of the best ideas from both companies. IH contributed advanced cab engineering, transmission concepts, operator ergonomics, and overall tractor architecture. Case contributed testing programs, manufacturing resources, and the new CDC engine partnership with Cummins. The engine partnership had begun years earlier through the Consolidated Diesel Company, a joint venture between Case and Cummins. The result would become one of the most respected tractor drivetrains ever built. CNH and Cummins would continue the 50-50 partnership all the way until 2008. In August of 1987, Case IH dealers gathered in Denver, Colorado. What they saw changed everything. The Magnum. Not a rebadged case. Not a leftover IH. An entirely new tractor. The original lineup included the 7110, 7120, 7130, and the 7140. And almost immediately, farmers realized that this machine was different. The Magnum featured an 18-speed full power shift, exceptional hydraulics, excellent visibility, quiet operation, and one of the best cabs in the industry. Case IH advertising made it clear this wasn't about tradition anymore. It was about performance. What truly separated the Magnum from its competition was balance. The tractor wasn't flashy for the sake of being flashy. Everything worked together. The CDC engines developed excellent torque. The full power shift transmission was smooth and durable. The cab was comfortable enough to spend all day inside. And perhaps most importantly, the tractor felt trustworthy. At a time when farmers had very little room for mistakes financially, that mattered a lot. The Magnum quickly gained a reputation as powerful, dependable, and surprisingly refined. In many ways, it became the exact opposite of the chaos surrounding the merger itself. The impact was immediate. Farmers responded. Dealers regained confidence. Sales improved. And suddenly, Case IH had something the merged company desperately needed: identity. The Magnum became more than a tractor. It became proof that the new company could survive, maybe even thrive. One article later described the Magnum as the tractor that saved the brand, and honestly, that might not be an exaggeration. Today, nearly 40 years later, the original Magnum tractors remain some of the most respected row crop tractors ever built. Many still work every day. Some have accumulated tens of thousands of hours. Tractor enthusiasts now view them as the moment when red tractors found their footing again after the collapse of the International Harvester. What makes the Magnum story so fascinating is that it wasn't supposed to happen this way. It emerged from economic disaster, corporate uncertainty, bitter rivalries, dealership closures, and one of the toughest periods in agricultural history. And yet, somehow, out of all that chaos, came one of the greatest tractors ever built. The Magnum didn't just save Case IH. For a lot of farmers, it saved faith in red tractors altogether. And maybe that's why these machines still mean so much today. Not just because there were good tractors, but because they proved that even in the darkest times, agriculture keeps moving forward. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a great day.